protect the king.
Alright. So... Knight Chronicles 2. Where did I leave off? Oh, this really nasty fight. I wonder if we got enough level now. I don't know. How far away from the next level? We are 8,000. So we literally just leveled up. Kara being 8 grand short. Well, let's give it a go. Worst that can happen is we have to go do some more leveling. Which won't be much fun, but it is what it is. Hi, gamer! Welcome back! Sorry about that, I was loading things up and didn't have my text up and running. How are you doing tonight? Let this video go through the sequence, because we haven't, watched it this week. We'll skip the rest of the week if we have to redo this fight. This is a nasty fight, though. Ah, it's a rough fight.
Keep out of this. How is this?
Yeah. I don't you know my phone is not charged. Of course it's not. Of course it's not charged, because you never remember to charge the thing. It's just the way it works. I mean... Dude, this... Oh my gosh, look at that damage he did. I swear. I swear. This game cheats so bad. Yeah, but if you remember to actually charge your... I swear! This game, this fight, it's absurd. Yeah, so he also gets armor. I think someone assassins as well. Well, we are, trying to get the last item we need from the king, who, dies, like, right after this fight. So trying to get the last, item we need for the king in order to unlock everybody. But this fight, I swear. Oh my goodness. This is it's the Balandor emblem, yeah. Yeah, this is our third time through Balandor in this game.
His grace is in danger. Hurry.
So, yeah, we're going up to the Balandor emblem, which is where we get Kara back, and, we find out why Leonard isn't as powerful as he should be. I mean, yeah, he's been using his armor a lot, but he shouldn't be basically dying from it. And we're trying to get through this so that we can find out, one, get the emblem, but two, find out why Leonard, all of a sudden is just so sick, because he shouldn't be. So, we'll find that out at some point, but unfortunately, we have to sit there and try and figure out, how to do this fight. The problem we have is this guy right here, Cyrus. He can't die in this fight. But the assassins basically can one-shot any of you at any time. So you gotta take them out quick. But the NPCs ignore them. Quote-unquote, Leonard is sick. Yes, he is. Leonard is currently sick, but we don't know why. And the characters think that by coming back to the past here and retrieving the king, or at least the information the king has, they'll be able to figure out why he's sick all of a sudden and be able to cure him of his disease. Because that's what they're hoping for. Obviously that's what's going to happen. Whatever happens here, we'll get it resolved. But with Cyrus having the hit points of a twigget, and just dying in like every 2 seconds, it's annoying. Yes. Yes. We know that Scourge is cure, so. You are now caught up with everything that has been revealed on this channel, in this game. Up to date. It's what we know. At this point, anyway. At least from official gameplay. I just don't know why this fight is being so hard.
Swiftly, Princess. We will keep you from harm.
I wonder. Fortify and mana barrier might just be something we can use. Well, the problem we have is, like I said, Cyrus is just, I mean, I wouldn't even qualify him as a glass cannon. He doesn't do any damage. He just has no health. This is one of those DPS and defense checkpoints. The problem is,
No time to rest. Go.
it's so much higher level than what you are when you come into this mission. I mean, you come into this mission at, like, 48-ish? And no clue. Can't you put heal first on the other two members? Oh, they have the spells. That's not the problem. I'm thinking I might be able to, put the, what is it? The fortify and magic barriers on them in advance. And then, see if that helps. That might be something we can do. It's kind of like buff everybody's stats a little bit before we, crawl into the den. I don't know if that works in this game, though. Some games it works, some days it doesn't. Of course it does. One day you actually remember to charge your phone. But thank you for dropping in. You too. It's always fun. You see, you remember to charge your phone next time. Alright, get through this. And we can heal the... Really? This fight is so cheesy. Hate these skeletons. They're so annoying. They don't really give much experience. But at least it's some experience. Alright, come on through. I don't think this is gonna make it. Did make it. I'm impressed.
This was the day everything went wrong.
His Grace, the Archduke. Our losses were too great.
Aye, their lives were lost.
Alright,
But they left us
let me see here.
to ensure our people never see a day this full of sadness.
See if we can get through this. Bye, have a good night. Alright. Such an annoying day. Come on, just die off. There we go. Magic. You know what? I would normally do heals, but the poison isn't hitting as hard. And they're just gonna re-poison us anyway. So there's really no point in curing it. I don't know, it's just one of those things. We have to work our way through it. But eventually we'll get through this and we'll actually be able to catch up to real gameplay. Not just having to grind. Unfortunately, I think this week might end up being another grinding day. I didn't have any time to do this early in the week. Unfortunately.
The passageway leads into the castle. Quickly.
Unfortunately. So, we'll just have to work our way through it and get another level or two. So the best thing for us to do is to just go through and kill everybody. And eventually, this all works out well. We'll be able to do this. But, I don't know. This is one of those fights that, if I wasn't streaming the game, I couldn't guarantee if I'd continue playing.
Calm down. We have a greater goal.
We know, Eldore, but still.
How can we not want to change what's right before you?
That's the problem. It's like, you know, it's such an annoying thing that not being able to get through this without grinding for, you know, hours on end. And there really wasn't anywhere to level up to begin with anyway. That's the worst part, is even coming up to this point, there really wasn't a place we could level up. Like earlier in the game, or in the previous game, where there was really nice areas to go grind a few levels, and it was nothing. This, after a while in this game, you just don't have it. Because the game was designed explicitly to be played online. And the developers didn't rebalance the experience gains when they took that component out. What they should have done is they should have just doubled all experience throughout the whole game. Just double it as compensation. That would have solved, you know, all of the issues. So, unfortunately, that's not what they did. Eldore leveled up. We're trying to get him.
Get a hold of you.
Cyrus, I feel the same way as you.
We can still protect the king if we hurry.
Well, there's an option though that we haven't tried yet.
That's the way.
And we have the barriers and stuff that we put on before. But if we go to Belle's configuration, we have arm breaker and shield breaker. We also have, that's all she's got. How are you doing today? You having a good evening? It's Saturday, it's a pleasant day, and we are struggling through the sewers of Balandor for another week in a row. Yay. It's life. It is White Knight Chronicles without online play. So therefore, we have all the pain. I'm doing slightly decent? Well, I'm sorry to hear that. It would be nice if you'd been doing a little better. I'm doing fantastic. The game? Not so much. It's doing... well, it's being White Knight Chronicles 2. Without online play. So, it's a pest. And that's a good way to describe it, because it really is a pain in my butt. Some games be like that. Well, no, this one's worse. Because the original White Knight Chronicles was designed for the single-player game to be played offline. And then had a multiplayer game on top of that. White Knight Chronicles 2, this one, was designed around the multiplayer game, and they expected you to play a big spider. No, they expected you to play the online version of the game, and then play the single-player story basically around that. Unfortunately, when they shut down the servers, they removed all online play. So you can't even like team up with your friends and your friends list that happen to have a copy of the game. So I can say, if you had a copy of the game, we could friend ourselves on the PlayStation Network, and then you could join me, and we could go do the old online content that's available. Nope, can't do that. So all we have is the single player content, and since it was designed for the expectation of you to be doing online content, everything is so much harder because you don't get experience like you should. Like these guys are dropping like, I don't know, about 100 experience points, give or take, and they should be dropping 200 to 300 experience points. But because, you know, they expect you to be higher level than this because they expect you doing online play, you kind of get snookered. So here I am, struggling through, so far, the hardest part of this game, trying to get enough experience to be able to handle this fight. And unfortunately, it is just not going well. It's a much harder grind. And the fact that we're in a dungeon that doesn't let you leave, so you can only level up what's in here, but the worst part is, what's outside isn't any better. Because all of the quote-unquote better experience areas, you have to do an online play, which you can't do by yourself. You have to do it with a party. So it's just, it's a lose-lose. We're in a lose-lose spot. All we can do is sit here and grind until our brain bleeds and pray it's enough. Eventually we'll get leveled up far enough that it won't be a big deal. Well, that's the problem. You can't do any of the online content. All the online content most of it is available. You can go do it, but you can't party with anybody. And you can't bring in your NPC characters to compensate. So they didn't give you any way of doing that content, which is where the high experience quests are. It's where you would normally go to do, you know, all of the grinding that you need to do in the game. So this spider... Hold on.
Please hurry.
Log. That spider gave us 450 experience points. That's actually not bad. I might have to go kill some more of those. That's actually pretty decent experience. But so that might be how we're gonna end up grinding through this, is having to do all the big fights, which are, some of them are real pests. They're really annoying. But they might be the only way we're gonna actually get enough experience to do what we need to do. Well, at least we're gonna level up soon. In here, we're getting approximately 100 experience for each trash mob. Some are 200. Most of them are 100. Like these skeletons, they're 100. Some of them are 150. But most of them are 100. And the big bosses, which take 5 times as long to kill, as you saw, they'll drop about 450, 500. And some of them in here are really hard. Because they're like these stupid skeletons that you have to bang down and then use holy to do damage. Really a nuisance, really annoying. But each monster has its own hit points and whatnot, so per battle is kind of wishy-washy. But right now we're getting about, see this, the scorpion was worth 150. I'd rather do scorpions, but there's not as many as there are skeletons. Skeletons are everywhere. They take longer to kill, and they give a lot less experience. So, our experience per minute is horrible down here. And even if we were in the overworld, it's not much better. So, there's an area that we can get a little more experience, but not much. We might get another 30 to 50 experience per kill. Maybe. So, it's not much better even right there. Well, that's what I was saying earlier before you came in, is that if I was playing this game solo, just me playing it like I do a lot of games, I'd probably do the, you know what? Nah, I'm done. Set it down and then just never pick it up again. But because I'm streaming it, I have a little more incentive to finish the game, because I like finishing games that I start on stream when I can. Unless it's intentionally like, oh, I'm not playing the game all the way through. I do some of those too. Or there's some motivation. The other part is that because I do have people like yourself that come in and talk, when that happens, I have something to distract me from the grind. So, I don't have to worry about, oh, it's just taking forever, it's so boring. No, I don't have that, because I usually have someone to talk to. Not always, but I usually have someone to talk to, at least for the majority of the day. And that helps a lot. It'd be nice if I had, like, multiple people to talk to the whole time I'm playing, because that would be a lot easier. But that is unfortunately not the case, even though that would be fantastic. So, but yeah, I wish I had a little more, you know, viewers, but hey, reminds me of that one time I grinded the game, forgot the type for 10 hours, not having anyone to talk to. Yeah, it's horrible. For a game that was like that for me was Dot Hack. I don't know if you know anything about that series. The original Dot Hack game was released in 4 installments on the PlayStation 1. The interesting part about it was it was one of the few games that did that, and the game was actually pretty decent. You know, story-wise and gameplay-wise, wasn't bad. But the biggest problem with it was they didn't change anything. And I mean anything. From the first fight to the last fight. If you understood the mechanics in Disc 1, 80 hours later, when you finished Disc 4, you were fighting the same fights in the same way. That was brutal to get through. I have that on my YouTube channel, which is on the screen now. If you want to go over and subscribe over there real quick and see, you can see my past misadventures. And it was a mess. So what I would do is I would record all the main story quests and whatnot, but the grinding, I would take like a day out on the weekend, on like Saturday or Sunday, and I would just sit there on like Saturday or Sunday all day, 10, 12, 16 hours, just grinding the whole day. So that the next day I recorded, sometimes even that evening I'd record the next video, I would be leveled up enough that I could just burn through them. 16 hours, and the fights were more mind-numbing than this game's are. You can see how boring this game's fights are, and how annoying they are, right? Okay, that game was worse, because you had to micromanage your whole party. You had to tell them basically every single attack you wanted them to do, you had to do it. If you wanted them to do anything, that you had to basically micromanage everything. It was miserable. It was horrible. This is a step up, but unfortunately, not much. Because at least these ads do something interesting sometimes. But yeah, it was bad. So, like I said, 8 to 16 hours in between between recordings, I had to sit there and level up. Now, the advantage was, once I was done leveling up, I was good to record for, I'd say the next, probably 5 to 7 hours of gameplay. And each disc is about 20 hours of gameplay. But, yeah, it was bad. I still like the story. I was getting so mind-numb after 50 recording sessions with that game, because it was the same thing. It was horrible. Oh, in Dot Hack? Let's see. Game timer was 80 hours. Broadcast time was 47 episodes. And the episodes were 30 minutes long, if I remember correctly. So, broadcast like 15 hours of gameplay and 80 hours on the books. It's a lot of grinding. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. Trust me. As much as I like that game, I don't think I could do it again.
Doubles as a hidden passage.
I really don't. Well, and one of the things was it's a game that I've been wanting to play all the way through since it came out. Now, personally, I was only able to get discs 1 and 2 locally. And disc 3, I was able to, nope, not that fight. No, thank you. That fight's not worth it. Disc 3, I was able to play through one of those, game rental services back in the day. But I never could get a copy of disc 4. And at the time, I couldn't do, copied or burned discs. So, and ROMs was out completely. Now you can do that kind of stuff on the PlayStation 2. But back then you couldn't. So I never did get a copy. I finally got a full set of the series in Japanese. I was gonna play that, but I really didn't want to. But I was able to get a full set from Europe. You know, a few months later. So I basically played through the game series, and at some point I ended up, I think it was the third game, I had to start over because apparently the emulation software I was using would not import the game properly. So I had to basically start over. That was a nuisance. So that was probably another 15, 20 hours that I had to just spend in game 3 just to get back up to where I would have been when I imported my save. So that was a long waste of time for me. And then I now have all but disc 4 for North America. Unfortunately, I don't have that one because that is a very expensive game. Unfortunately, that's like, you know, $500-600 if I can even find a copy. I think I've seen it as low as 4, but I just didn't have the money at the time. So I still want to get that last disc to complete my North American collection. But yeah, it's a lot of grinding. It's not really fun. Grinding in that game is boring as, oh my god. Grinding in this game is entertaining. It's interesting at least. What the heck? I have no clue what just happened. It just spawned this group on me. What? That's like not normal. This game had a brain fart. It doesn't always spawn that quick. I have no clue what that was about. I'll take it though. Use the experience. No clue. This game's really weird. Sometimes the spawns just bug out like that. And other times, it'll bug the other direction and it'll go like, I don't know, 20 minutes of gameplay and it won't spawn anything. In this particular dungeon, it sucks. It's horrible. And since I need so much experience, it's really annoying. Oh, this thing bugged. And the worst part about this is the only way to kill off the skeletons quickly is with Holy. And if the timing is not exactly right, holy doesn't even work, as you've seen. Where sometimes it kills it instantly, and other times, it just ignores it. Okay, can't open that door. So that boss room is off the table.
Is the king safe?
So, we go this way.
You want to stay?
And we'll find... Oh wait, I need to go through that gate. That's what I need to do. That's what we need to do. We need to go through that gate right there. See, that time worked perfectly. This one, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. When it works, it's fantastic and the fights go by quick. When it doesn't, I have to kill him like twice in order to even stand a chance. Oh well, it's life in this game. It's horrible, but we live through it. There we go. So yeah, on Friday, I've been streaming Tales of Arise. That's fun. Yeah, it is. Every single time I have to gamble with it. It's horrible. So yeah, we've got, on Friday we've got Tales of Arise that we're playing. Working through that. Nice and easy. Not too bad. We're making solid progress on that every week at least. Unlike this one, okay, that one, that door's done. This one unfortunately is extremely slow because of the mechanics that we have to deal with. But it's okay. We'll get through it eventually. And let's see. Yep, see, that one didn't work. I'm currently taking a recording break from other videos that I would normally record. And I'm reevaluating. I did not want to do that. See, that one worked. I don't know why. I don't know. This game is so weird sometimes. Because sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't think like a resist to it or something that, you know, or what, I don't know. So yeah, I'm currently debating what I want to do for general recordings on my channel. Oh, trust me, I know that all too well. Unfortunately, these games that don't have the most up-to-date everything tend to have issues. Because, like, this game, even though because of the online gameplay, there was a lot of updates for, like, bugs and whatever, in content updates and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, for the final version of the game, basically all they did was take the base game and disable online play. So any bug fixes or any experience bumps or whatever to make the game more consistent and easier to play and whatnot, all of those updates were basically removed when they updated it to the offline version. Wow, that thing exploded. What was up with that? That was a little weird. So, I don't know. It's it's one of those things, we'll get through it. At some point, we'll manage to, get through this game. And unfortunately, I might actually have to do offline grinding. Once I get out of this fight and I get back to the open world stuff, I'm probably just gonna have to bite the bullet and do some more of the side content.
I am coming, Father.
Just so that I can level up a little bit. Going all in soon? I don't know. This game... I don't know. However... Okay, so that's good. That's good. I guess we can do this. I need... Great. Not helpful. He doesn't have enough points to do what I want to do with him. Kara, I don't know what I'm going to do with you. Are there any game-breaking skills? Not that I'm aware of. Because the game was focused mostly on online play, most of the material that's available from back in the day is for online content. So like if you spec this way, you can have an easy game or whatever. That's great. It's fantastic. Except the fact that that particular spec requires items that you could only get in the online mode, and they're no longer available. Or if they are available, they're just insanely hard to get because you don't have the online assistance. So that's the problem. Is that all the best items and the best combos and the game-breaking stuff was in the online content, which is no longer available. So, yeah. If there is anything like that that's in this version, I couldn't find anything. Doesn't mean it's not there, doesn't mean it's not available, doesn't mean there isn't anything that can break it. I just couldn't find anything when I was looking before. And if anybody who's played this game before knows anything, and I know some guys that played this game a long time, and they couldn't think of anything that didn't require the online play to do game-breaking content. So, unfortunately, the only thing we can do is can't break the game that's not broken. Well, yeah, it's already broken. We know that. But the thing is, it's not broken. The game works exactly as intended. Unfortunately, it does work as they apparently intended it to function. Which means we have to deal with Cyrus being a one-hit death machine in this next fight. And oh, by the way, he's a critical character, so if he dies, game's over. anybody who ever thought making a critical character end the game was a good idea, I just want to kill them. Beat them with a leg off of a zombie sounds nice. It's a stupid mechanic. It's not fun. All it does is make your gameplay so much harder. And then they almost always make it a character that is pathetically weak. I mean, always pathetically weak. You know, so example, Cyrus has 550 hit points. That sounds great, except he has no defense. See, you have to complete the world map in order to go to the world map. You have to complete the dungeon before you can go to the world map. So, I haven't played Fire Emblem in a long time. Do they have that problem too? Alright, save. Alright. Let's save. Though I expect to die miserably, I'm gonna save real quick. I'm going to cast the protection spells, and then enter the fight.
We must keep the king alive.
And see if this keeps. Because if this keeps when we enter the fight, then we might stand a chance. Once it loads, I'm gonna skip the. There we go. Skip it. Skip the cutscene. Armbreaker.
I know that. You're the real Dragons.
Do that. Do that. Okay, so we did not keep any of that. Doesn't look like we kept any of the buffs. That's okay. I think we can make it through these assassins real quick. Then what we'll do is we'll change to Eldore. Oh my goodness! I don't have him equipped. Alright, I know I shouldn't be doing this mid-fight. I really shouldn't. Well, where is that? What are those spells? They in light, dark? I know he died. It's like reloading in the middle of a fight. How brave. Oh. In this game? Don't feel bad. I'm doing a lot. I do that a lot. it's not that big of a deal. How many times I'm in the middle of a fight, it's like, you know what? That's not working. Let's go ahead and find that other skill. Do this again. It's when you're arguing with fights like this that are extremely hard for no reason at all, sometimes you just gotta sit there and on the fly go through and redo all your stuff. It's sometimes necessary. It's sad, but true. Unfortunately, it's the way it goes. Alright, so what we'll do here is let's fix Eldore, because we need fortify all, mana barrier, actually, you know what? I'm gonna clear this bar. And what I'll do is I will put in debuff. No. Debuff. Debuff. Party buff. Party buff. I think Warrior's aura, attack up. Don't care, doesn't help us much. No, that doesn't help us much. Alright.
Was already
Let me go ahead and resave this. That way if I have to reset, I'm already saved. Now, if we actually die, it'll take us back to the beginning of the dungeon, rather than me starting here with the save game. So, that's because it's, like I said, it's designed for, group online play and such. So, it will take us back to the beginning of the dungeon. That's not a problem. That's okay. It's just a matter of, getting through what we need to do. So the trick here is saving Cirrus, keeping him buffed. So what I want to do is I want to arm breaker, shield break, and then I need to kill these guys off real quick while they're trying to keep everybody healthy. And then what we'll do is I'm gonna change to Eldore.
I know now. You're the real Drakius.
And buff everybody. Because Cyrus is the problem. We gotta keep him buffed. And then we are waiting for this guy. We'll do this. We broke our spell. Right, here we go. Mollify. And then fatigue. And then we'll put Mollify on him. And then we switch to Bell. Work on the assassins. So, if I'm a little distracted, obviously you can see why. Alright. Items. Mana 2 on myself, because I don't think I need to do this quickly. Mana 3 on Kara. Mana 3 on Kara. Mana on him. Mana Steel. I think I got it this time though. I think getting a few more levels, because last week we gained 2 levels. And this week we gained another level. And... oh! See what I mean? It's so annoying. Items. Heal potion 3. Do not kill him. Okay. Alright. Really? Get your butt moving. No! Get your butt moving. Heal 3 on... oh, Kira. Heal on Ceres. This fight is so stupid. Hopefully somebody reses me in a second. There we go. I'm up. Items. Come on. Magic. Eldore. Come on. Mana. Kira. Alright. Come on. Running out of mana. Give me your mana. I need some. You're good. Magic, mana, Kara, go.
I will put a stop to this.
Armbreaker. Shieldbreaker. Come on. I can only do just so much. Jesus, I need to... self.
Stay calm. All is not lost.
Items. Revive. Care. Items. Heal potion. Cyrus. Oh, he's still alive! I'm not! Come on, come on, come on! Revive Eldore. I don't have time to deal with you.
Step aside.
If these guys did not... Well, the thing is that they respawn way faster than they should. See what I mean? They spawn so quickly. There's a timer. And if you kill them fast enough, then they don't respawn. But you have more than a few seconds to deal with them.
Calls for you.
And I might be able to do it this time as long as my mana potions hold out. My mana potions can hold out. I might just be able to make it. Not me, you bastard. No. This is not my cup of tea. Alright. Here we go. Give me your mana. I might make it. I think I'm gonna make it. No. That came out just in time. I can't do anything about him at the moment. I gotta get rid of these assassins. There's nothing I can do about this. If I get rid of these assassins, we're not gonna make it. Come on! Alright. Items. Magic. No. Items. Heal potion. Self. Items. Heal. Cyrus.
Thank you.
Come on. I gotta keep Cyrus alive. Thank God. Come on, just hold his attention. Because if I can't kill Cyrus, we're in trouble. Hold on. Oh my goodness! Oh my God! That's like the last fight in the freaking game. Oh my goodness! Oh my God! I can't believe it. I finally...
Sarvain. Resist all distraught, you fools, but you're too late.
Let down.
So Kira wasn't here twice. I used to do working for the bad guy, but didn't realize that he, was one of the puppets.
It's going to be all right.
Cisna.
Oh my goodness.
Your Grace.
My boy Cyrus. Is that you?
Yes, Your Grace.
2.5 weeks of grinding and I finally beat that fight.
Fool for not killing
It's so
Sarvain
horrible.
for the traitor he was. All this time, he must have been after the Knight.
Father, we need you to tell us what you know about it.
Yeah,
The Knight,
and I guess I streamed for about 3 hours a night.
as you very well know,
So yeah, 7 hours, give or take.
Sarvain and we set ourselves to the task of researching the White Knight that was excavated from the
So yeah,
gauntlet.
7 hours.
At first,
It's horrible.
we were convinced it was just a relic, something that belonged in a museum. But then, as we investigated further, we learned the awful truth. There was an infant found alongside the Knight, and the boy's soul had been bound to the Knight through some sort of pact. I decided there and then to place him and the other infants in the care of a man named Medius.
So we finally had to get to hear the whole story.
The White Knight away, deep beneath the castle. Sarvain, however, oh, he was firmly against it. He insisted we use the Knight for the sake of Balandor. But I knew I could not allow that to
That
happen.
particular fight, the way I was playing that fight,
Inside
believe it or not, that is how you play
evil presence lived on.
the Dot Hack series on the PlayStation 2. Every single fight is that way.
That was when I had
So I have lots of practice with that kind of fights.
to find good homes for the children we found in the rift. They needed parents who would care
It's all that kind of micromanaging. It's horrible.
in peace. Anything to prevent the Knight's power from
It's miserable.
real purpose.
So that's how it happened.
Forgive me, Your Grace. I failed to protect you.
So like I said, I have plenty of hours of practicing that type of combat. But oh my goodness, is it a mess.
You cannot shield me from fate.
Father.
Cyrus, my dear son, this belongs with you.
Ah, the last crust.
What is it?
A philosopher's insignia. It has been passed down through my family for generations.
Game theory. Characters that are about to die get their lifespans extended for a short period of time so they can finish saying their fast. Exactly. That's the way it always works.
I will. Rest assured.
And they never actually die mid-sentence like you would in real life. Because this guy was stabbed pretty hardcore. Alright, now we get to teleport it back to our normal time. Alright, there's the third insignia. Back to the present.
The three insignia have been united. Now the Ethwani Queen Murius can truly awaken. A worthy opponent. Emperor Madoras. The stage is set. It shan't be long.
That fight, though. Flashbacks. Horrible flashbacks from last year. Oh my goodness. That was horrible. Horrible flashbacks from last year. That's how I was playing Dot Hack. The Dot Hack series.
That's no way
I started in
Peace,
late 21
I have a proposition for
and
you.
finished it towards the end of 22.
Struggle and
It was
join
horrible.
the Imperial Army.
Let's just say we don't like the management.
It's the right choice, you know. The Knight's power was created for the sole purpose of serving Emperor Madoras. You belong
Yeah,
to me,
it was bad.
your brother.
It was bad. And it wasn't so bad because, like, I'd record, like, 1
This
to
discussion is over.
2 hours,
You two will just have to be
At a
put in
time.
place.
and then it was broadcast 1 episode a week.
Shining sovereign, supreme light of the ancient skies.
So,
For your power.
it was over a long period of time. It wasn't like I crowned it out in, like, a day. You know, over a couple of weeks or whatever. But yeah, no, it was an ongoing thing because it was so difficult. It was so long. It was so mind-numbing. I had to break it up. So it was, like I said, it was broadcast over 47 episodes. With many sessions of grinding along the way.
Now, let's see what you've got.
Save game. No! I do not want to do this. Oh, that's right, this is Bo. I'm on Bo check. She's horrible. I'm on Bo check. Actually, you know what? Let me on Caesar. I'll play Caesar. Let the AI figure out how to play with Bocheck. Oh wait, that's... Okay, so that's... Okay, so that only heals self. I haven't played Caesar since... I don't know what this game's doing. We're not doing any damage to the Sun King. It's doing They're doing... Give me a charge attack to break her. Oh, there's no Caesar. Game over. I knew it! Fucking bastard game. Sorry. It's not the first time it's done that. No, I just basically wasted the last hour of gameplay.
Drakius was already in
Because to redo that whole fight with Dragius just to go to that fight that you can't win. I don't normally get like that, but this game. It's just, there's nowhere better to grind. You're just stuck here doing this waste. Most games would have given you a save point in between those two fights, knowing they're hard fights that will kick that and you have like easy lose conditions on both of them. They would normally give you a save point, you know, even on the PlayStation 3. Now, if you're on the PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2, okay, fine. Relatively common. But this is the PlayStation 3. We have had, at this point, 20 years of Final Fantasy end bosses to teach people that you don't do that unless it's the last boss? Why is that heal? Why is her bar different? Hold on. Her bar changed. No, it didn't. I'm on the wrong character.
I'm ready for more.
That's how flustered I am at the moment. Brain's not even conceiving the fact that I'm on a different character. Yeah, I was afraid I was gonna do that. Where I was just gonna sit there and just throw this into a back-to-back stupid impossible fight.
Your Grace! Father.
Actually, let me see something. No, I'm gonna reset it. The reason I'm resetting it is because I don't have my 2s and 3 potions. Because there's a, I can't get the 3 potions back. And I used all of them on that fight. And I mean all of them. Waste of time. See, normally you'd be able to go here and go into a Geonet state and bounce out of the single player game into Geonet if you got stuck, and then go join somebody else's game and do some grinding and leveling and ja. But unfortunately, We can't do that.
The final insignia will be lost if King Valtos perishes.
And it's not like it's the last fight of the game, because we still have, things to do after this. Because even if we beat the Sun King, which is going to take all 5 nights to do. All 4 nights to do, rather. If we don't, we only have 3. At the moment. I mean that long. I don't know how much is left in the game at this point. I really don't. Makes me wonder. Actually, I am really curious. How much is left in this game?
The canal doubles as a hidden passage.
Hold on, I'll go back for a second. Give me a second. Oh, that's all.
Drakius was already inside the castle?
So, right around the time I started playing the second one, I stumbled across the guidebooks for both the first and second game. So, it actually makes things interesting because I can now take a short break and try and figure out where we are. Okay, back to Kingdom of Balandor. Then Haven Wastes, Scavengers, the Arc Test, that was for the bow archer, that was for the archer one. Back to Balandor. So we're in the underground passage right now. We have to defeat the assassins. According to this, they're levels 48 and 53. So Drakius is 53. That might actually be helpful. The Sun King fight, according to this, it's a time lock fight. So you just don't die and just ignore them, just keep healing for the sun fight. Okay, we can deal with that.
How can you not want to change what's right before you?
Then the White Knight's Last Stand story there. And then we're into chapter 12. And chapter 12, I think, is the last chapter. Yes. Chapter 12 is the last chapter. So, this is the last fight sequence for this chapter. But we still have one more chapter after this. And really, according to that, Drakius is level 53. Which means Kara needs 2 levels to be his level. which will put Eldore 1 level up, and Belle 2 levels up, probably. Sadly, it means we have to kill somewhere around 700 skeletons. No, this game's had a couple. Knight Chronicles 2 has had several fights like this, where it's just a absolutely insane boss fight that you are not prepared for when you get there, and it's a total crapshoot whether you can beat it or not. The last one they did this to us with was when we were going after Yulie's armor, which is the archer armor, which is, of course, it's archer armor, so in cinematics, it's awesome. In reality, it's useless. Because that's just the way they treat archers in these games. I swear this game took too many points from Legend of Dragoon. All the goods and bads, apparently. But, so yeah. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's a mess. But we'll get through it. We know at our current levels we can do the Dragius fight, but God is it stressful. So let's get a little more levels and we should be able to do that one without a problem. A clumsy mess that you'll eventually go through. I'll get through it. We'll get through it. It'll be fun. But no, no, that fight was, snap. It was 2 dragons you had to fight. They're the larger monsters that we don't see too many of in this dungeon because they're all behind locked doors. Did you see the spider web I fought earlier? Were you in the room when I did that one? I fought the big spider. If not, I'll find one of the big monsters and show you how big they are. But the big monsters give about 500 experience points right now. Unfortunately, we don't have very many of those available to us. Because this dungeon's stupid. It is, it's really stupid. I hate this dungeon. I hate this dungeon. I hate this dungeon. But we will get through it. We will get through it. But you had to fight 2 of them. And their annoying mechanic is they'll fly into the air and do their breath weapon attacks or a wing attack where they just blow air at you or something, and they'll be up there for a while. The only way to knock them down is to hit them. You have to attack them. So, unfortunately, none of my characters, 1, we're all getting 1 shot like in the Stragius fight. It was horrible. And 2, no one had attacks that could effectively hit air. You know, creatures in the air. So I had to go through everybody's attacks and do combos in order to attack specifically aerial creatures. I'll show you. So if I go to Eldore, he's got one. Here we go. See air? That's his combo for air attack. So you have to fight this one. This is how you have to fight that other fight. In the air, like that. That's how you had to fight that fight. It was horrible. And when we first got that fight, they could one-shot us. So it's not even like we were leveled up for it. It was horrible. No, it was really bad. But the difference was, in that fight, we were in an area that had monsters that were both good experience for us, and that we had access to these boss rooms. So it wasn't just that we needed to strat in order to fight them, which we did, but we also had the ability to fight monsters that gave us enough experience to gain the 3 or 4 levels that we needed in a timely manner. Unlike in this dungeon, where we really don't have that. We have to do a strat for the fight, and then if we don't have enough, we have to go level up on monsters that we need literally hundreds of kills in order to be able to level up properly. So, it's dumb. It is so dumb. And these skeletons are down to what? 100 even now? Yeah, they're down to 109. So it's 6 points less than it was before. Which isn't a lot, but it is 6 points. And the fishy... I forget, I missed the fishy. How much is the fishy worth? I'll have to check. See what the fish is at. Alright, come on. Let's see. The skeleton was 109. No, the remora was 109 too. So the spiders are down to 116 from 150. And the other two are sitting at 109. So yeah, it's horrible. My new strat for the fights we have to do now is level up so I'm not micromanaging so hard. I mean, yeah, I can do it again, but that much stress is not normal. Shouldn't be necessary to have that much stress on a fight. But we'll get there. I think if we just get everybody up just a level or two, we'll be okay. Because compared to where it was last week, this fight was way easier. It was way easier this time. It was actually doable. I mean, as long as Cyrus doesn't take a direct hit and dies in one hit. As long as you can avoid that, you're okay. But, yeah. Just need to get everybody a few more hit points, I guess. I guess. And of course, Holy stopped working. course it did. Well, that's the problem, is that they're going to run out of mana very quickly as long as they don't have the defense. And unfortunately, the best way to raise defense in a level-based game is to raise your level. Because of level scaling. So, under normal circumstances, I wasn't stuck in this dungeon. I probably would have leveled up to probably 55. If I was playing dot hack, I'd have gone to 60. When I hit that kind of a fight, I just back up and just go to 60 or what, level up to 60 or whatever. Unfortunately, because this game's really weird, and I mean really weird, nothing really gives much experience in this game. The first game had great grinding spots. This one, for whatever weird reason, they gave you nowhere to grind. Because they expect you to do it through the online play. And unfortunately, they never changed it. Because if they had taken everything's experience and just doubled it, I wouldn't have this issue. And that would have been such an easy thing for them to do. It's just double everything's experience to compensate for the lack of online play. But they didn't do that.
Swiftly, Princess. We will keep you from harm.
But it's okay. It's annoying. I'm used to it. Like I said, this was my life in dot hack. That's all I can do. All you can do is just sit there and grind it out until you can beat it. Eventually, you'll grind out enough levels that you'll beat it. It is horrible. But that's where doing this, online streaming like this is nice. Because I have people like you that I can talk to, and I can, when I get frustrated, I can just do the, you know what, let's take a break and do something else. Like going to get the book. And looking up the levels. So yeah, it's a mess. As I don't use the book very often. Oh yeah, no, just being here's the help. That helps lots. That helps, like, way more than, you probably realize. Just being here to help me not get flustered. Honestly, if it was just me and nobody else was in here at the moment, I might have just given up for the night and swapped to a different game or just peaced out for the day. Honestly, there's a really good chance I might have done that because it's so frustrating to have that kind of stuff happen.
They barred the gates?
People don't really understand, unless you play these games, exactly how annoying and how frustrating fights like that are. Especially when it's not the last fight in the game. When it's the last fight, speaking of night, may I ask what time it is? It is currently 10 to 10. I am Eastern Standard Time, United States. Always a good time. And I start streaming around 8 or 9 o'clock my time, depending on the day and if there's something else going on. So 8 or 9 o'clock my time, I will start streaming. Oh, that's cool. So 10 a.m., that puts you 12 hours offset, so... That'll put you in... what? Australia, or the Philippines, or India? Somewhere around that range? Maybe a little farther east. Philippines. Yeah, because all of that is around that same time range. Here. So. And it varies because, like, Australia and India have, like, one has, like, 10 time zones, and the other one has, like, 14 time zones, because India's weird. They're weird. So, it makes it really hard to know exactly which time zone sometimes. Yeah. Any more? Looks like we have one more back here. That's gotta be those experience. Oh, come on. Get up. Get up. Cyrus is... Oh my goodness, Cyrus is taking a big hit. Oh my goodness. Should have been sleeping 10 hours ago, but oh well. Were you, working at night, or were you just up all night just to be up? Either way, I completely understand. I've done both. It's a headache sometimes. Like, I've done stuff like this where I've just been streaming or whatever, and it was like 6 a.m. This was a couple years ago, and we were doing something. I think we were doing a raid in a game, and it was an absolute mess. Really? I missed, and it was just all messed up. I ended up not sleeping for like 36, 39 hours. It was horrible, and I did the, you know what? I'm not doing that again. Yeah, these other streamers I would do like 24-hour streams or 48-hour streams where I'm like, dude, that's an easy way to get sick, and yeah, I'm not doing it. It's not worth it, in my opinion, to stay up that long. My sleep schedule has been messed up thanks to me having friends. Yeah, I completely understand. I completely understand. It's like, what was it? I did a podcast with a friend of mine over in India. And we ended up doing it at like 10 or 11 o'clock my time, because that's when it was reasonably convenient for everybody on the podcast. Because like 2 of us from the US and 2 from India, and none of us had the same sleep schedule. It was bad. It was just really bad. So it was just like an absolute mess. But we had a great time. We had a good podcast on it. But we decided that we can't do that again because it was just too hard on everybody. So yeah, it's a definite struggle when you're trying to do content with people and they're in different areas. Like for me, it's really easy to do content with anybody in the US and anybody from Central to Western Europe. Really easy for me to do content with. And I've done, you know, either simulcasts or podcasts or tandem streams or whatever with people in, you know, Central and Western Europe all the time. Not a big deal. But doing India was way harder than I thought it was going to be, to get everything lined up and scheduled and to get the program put together and then air it. I was very shocked as to how much more work it was in order to get everybody on the channel. It was fun though. So I think that would have worked out better if we actually had a real plan for what we were going to do on the broadcast. We just had a couple of bullet points and I think we hit half of them, maybe. It was bad. We had a ball though, so that's all that mattered. Skull fragments, oh, that's so fun. Alright, so these guys got something? Nope, good, okay. So where are we at level-wise? Okay, Eldore did finally level up his little butt. Right. We want to go to learn skills on Eldore. This is the one we're currently leveling up for him. Armbreaker, please. Oh, we can do Gale Thrust. And then we can do Counter Sword. And that unlocks his mana leech. Yeah, it's definitely a problem. It's a struggle. So yeah. Anyway, so now we get to level some more, trying to bridge that gap. I would say 1 level would be a nice minimum, but I really think in order to make that fight comfortable, we're gonna need 2. In order to be able to do it without stressing so hard. Which is gonna put Belle and maybe Eldore plus 1 level to the fight, which wouldn't break my heart any. But it does mean we have to sit there and whatever. Die. So we'll get through this, but man, is it gonna be a long grind. Put one there. So, I've been trying to figure out what's next for what games I'm going to be doing next, because this game we have, if it wasn't for this grind that we still have to do, we would be on chapter 12, on the last chapter. And if... So we might be able to do that this week. Though next week will definitely be a for sure. But the other game that we have, which is Tales of Arise, which we're doing on Fridays, that one we're chugging along very nice and clean on the story. And we're getting close to the end of that game too. So I've got 2 games that we're real close to the end on. I think one of them will close out in April. I think the other one's going to be May. As long as I don't have to sit there and do this for another 14 hours straight. I have to grind for no reason. And then it's like, what's next? I was thinking about revisiting the Assassin's Creed titles. I figured that might be fun. I was also thinking about why am I getting my butt beat? Oh, because no one's in combat except me. What else was I thinking about doing? I was thinking about doing Assassin's Creed. I was thinking about doing a couple of other older RPGs. Like Final Fantasy all the way through, or do a the Leonard series or something like that. I was thinking about that. And I was also thinking that I could go do a different type of game for a little while and play one of the team duns and play an MMO or one of those co-op games like Deep Rock Galactic, or use an item for no reason at all. And I got Darktide, but that wasn't as fun. I mean, I figured because Darktide was coming up, and I like the 40k universe, but and Vermintide was fun, but Darktide, for whatever reason, it just, I don't know, I couldn't get the feel of the game. It didn't feel good. I played a couple of different classes in Darktide, and it never felt good. But, like Deep Rock Galactic, no story in that game at all. None. There is none either. And, I have no problems playing Deep Rock Galactic for 4, 5, 6 hours. You know, I'll play that just for giggles. You know, working on stuff. So, I might do that. And that's one of those games that, if people wanted to play with me, they could. Because it's all co-op. Sanity for what? Which game? It depends on the game. If it's like Final Fantasy or Assassin's Creed or something like that, games that I've played before, there's no sanity check. The only time there's a sanity check is in games that I've never played before. Or it's a game that I know is going to be a nightmare fest. So, like, one that I like playing, but it's kind of a rough sanity check, is Tales of Symphonia, Dawn of a New World. It's the second Symphonia game. And that one's kind of a cross between a Tales of RPG game and Pokemon, really. It's like, you know, a game like this, or the Tales of games, Tales of RPG games, with all the skits and whatnot, and cross that with Pokemon, and that's Dawn of a New World. It was an interesting one-off that they did, and it was a lot of fun. I liked it, but I didn't spend the time to really get into the creature capture side of the game. I just kind of pushed through it. So like I went through and it's like, oh, if I caught a creature, great, it was fine. I wasn't trying to get like all the whole deck or anything. You know, I wasn't trying to do all that. You know, where you get to get the whole deck, or trying to get optimized combos or whatever. I wasn't trying to do any of that kind of stuff. I just kind of used whatever came my way and did the, I like this guy. This one's pretty cool. Let's go with this character or whatever. And that was just basically how I played the game. I didn't try and do anything. The other one that I was looking at, series-wise, is I thought about doing Star Ocean. And those are like Final Fantasy crossed with a bit of Phantasy Star, with a little more, you know, with a little more tech than Final Fantasy games, a little more, you know, science fiction tech, but not as dependent on it as like the Phantasy Star games. So it's kind of like a middle of the road. And I like that series. And I've played, there's like 10 games in that, 7 games? 10 games? Might be 10 games in that series now. And I own like 5 or 6 of them. And I've played most of the games in the series. And it's a lot of fun. Yeah, those are fun too. Not really. You figure the Final Fantasy series has... I think someone did the math. I think last time I heard, when 16 comes out, there's like 22 or 23 Final Fantasy games? It's something really stupid like that. Because there'll be 16 numbered games. But then you have Tactus, Disgaea, and all the spin-offs like Crisis Core and After Years and so on. There's like 22 or 23 games in that series. The Assassin's Creed games have like 12 when you get to Valhalla. So, you know, Star Ocean having like 7 to 10 is a drop in the bucket. When you think about it, it's really not that much. I mean, Phantasy Star has around that same number. Around 10 to 12. If I remember correctly. It's around 10 to 12 too. But they went with their last couple of games for Phantasy Star, starting with Universe being, well, Universe was like this, where it was like partially online, partially offline. And then, they actually went full online. And they haven't done a new game since. Wonder if we'll live long enough to see Final Fantasy 100. Probably not numbered 100. Like, you know, Final Fantasy number 100. But the 100th game in the Final Fantasy franchise? Possible. Because you figure, some of them have, like, 3 or 4 games inside the series. Like, Final Fantasy 4 has 3 games. Final Fantasy 7 has, well, before the remake. Because the remake's gonna have, like, 4 or 5 titles. Because it's a complete reimagination of the series, of the game. Was originally 3? Had 2 spin-offs, I think it was. And 13 had basically 3 core games. 10 had 2 games. We don't count the MMO, all the MMO stuff counts as 1, so like all of 11, even though it had like 10 or 12 expansions, that's 1. Same with 14, all of its expansions just cram it down, that's 1. You just gotta count it that way. But, so yeah, there's... Okay. We already have like 20 some odd games in that series anyway. So I think by the time they're done with everything they've got planned, if we count the remasters and remakes as separate games, especially the new remakes, because the early quote-unquote remakes were actually just remasters. Oh, I know what to do. I wanted to heal. But the new ones they're doing like whole reimaginations. So we could be very closely to about 30, 35 games by the time they're done with the current chain of games. Which puts us close to the halfway to 100 mark. I mean, when you think about it. We're getting really close to that. The are just lazy recodes of others. Okay. There is a very, very defined line in remake, remaster, and reimagination. If you don't know what they are, I'll go over them real quick. A remaster is taking the original title and fixing the graphics so that it is modern. That's all they're doing. So you're like, oh, this game is had a code of pain. No, honestly, that's the way it's supposed to be. That's a remaster. Taking, let's say, this game and giving all of its textures and graphics and whatnot an upgrade to the PS5's engine and redoing all of its textures so it looks good on the PS5 console. That is a remaster. They're literally a pig with a lipstick on a pig. All they're doing is cleaning up the images, cleaning up the graphics, making it look pretty and nice. That's fine. Remakes are where they take the exact same game, no changes to story or gameplay, and redo everything. All new code, all new graphics engine. They might add more content. They may even, change its style from like a 2D to a 3D. So like, take Final Fantasy 3, for instance, was originally 2D on the Nintendo Entertainment System. When they released that on the 3DS, they released it as a 3D remaster, so that it was, cheesy 3D graphics. But it was a remaster because they went through and redid the game from the ground up. Didn't change the story, didn't change the gameplay mechanics. Well, not significantly anyway. but they did change the graphics engine and the code base entirely. The third one is reimagination. This is where they take the original concept and say, we like you, but we don't like what anybody did with you originally. So they throw it out and start over. That is the Final Fantasy VII remake that they have right now. It is not a remake, it is actually a reimagination. Because they threw out basically everything that they didn't like or wanted to change from the original game, and then decided to add in other content, make it more, change graphics, change personalities of characters. I mean, they did a lot of changes. Like, for example, Tifa in the original game was a very self-confident, bar brawler. In the reimagination, the remake version of it, frankly, she comes off as a little slutty. It's the way it is. I don't like it, but it's what they did with it. Some people do like the change, some people don't. And like Yuffie was 14 in the original game. She was a little kid, and she acted like a little kid. In the remake, she's not a little kid. She's 17 like everybody else, and she's just overzealous. Completely changes the personality of the character when you change the age that much. But yeah. So that's it, guys. San Andreas remastered version is just Rockstar being... Well, okay, that's different. But Rockstar isn't... how should we put this politely? They love their lipstick on a pig. Look at GTA 5. That was originally released for the PlayStation 3 and has had the game remastered. On the PlayStation 3 it was remastered once. On the PlayStation, then it was remastered for the PlayStation 4. Then it had a graphic upgrade for the PlayStation 4. Then it was remastered for the PlayStation 5. Is that out yet? I think that one's out now. Might be out later this year. And you see the same thing with like Skyrim. I mean, come on. Skyrim is, what, 12 years old now? 13 years old now? And it has had a remake, remaster, whatever, literally every few years, just so Bethesda can charge $50 for the game again. And weirdly enough, people keep paying for it. I mean, I own 2 copies? I think about this one. I own a PC version, and I think I own the PS4 version, the PS3 version. So I think I have like 2 or 3 copies of Skyrim. But the only reason I have the PC version, which by the way, I love way more than the console version, is because I bought their anthology, which included all 5 games. All 5 Elder Scrolls games. Because I didn't own Oblivion or Morrowind, and I'd never owned Daggerfall or Arena at all. So I went ahead and bought that. Bought that series. Oh my. So I ended up having Skyrim because of that. And then they gave us the special edition for free, so I consider that a new version. A 3rd copy of the game. Well, FIFA... Okay, so FIFA the Madden or whatever the football game is for American football, and whatever the baseball game is for, you know, and the hockey game or whatever. All those sports games, EA is the master of lipstick on a pig, because they just miss the cast. Because they just update the rosters, update the graphics a little bit to like fix people's hairstyles or fix minor bugs in the engine. And they sell it for $50, $60 brand new next year. And they just keep doing that. Trust me, I have, when I got my a Sega CD, I got a bunch of games with it. A bunch of Genesis games. And most of them are sports games. This guy liked his sports games, apparently. Because he had Madden for like 4 or 5 years straight. And he had like Tamco's football. And he had somebody else's football game. And he had like 2 or 3 hockey games and 2 basketball games. And you know, he just got loved his sports games. Let me tell you, he bought them year after year. And I'm like, I've never understood why people do that. I've been around the block a little bit. Just a little. I mean, I owned a Nintendo Entertainment System back in the 80s. We had it a year or 2 after it came out. We owned a Commodore 64 back in the day and played a ton on that. Love those games. Love that system. Still one of my favorite systems out there. But yeah, I've played probably close to 2,000 or 3,000 games over the years. Just a few games. Of course, that's across like I don't know how many systems. Let me think. Yeah, just a few. Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, Sega CD. My Jaguar doesn't work. Though I do own one. My Sega CD is broken. Well, that did work for a little while. I have a Saturn. I have a PlayStation 1, 2... 1 mini, 2 mini, 3, 4... Do not own a PlayStation 5. I've owned PC since 286s came out. And I have multiple variants on the Game Boy, from the original Game Boy up through 3DSs. I have a Switch. I have a PSP, and I have a Vita. I think that's everybody. I think. Yeah, I think that's all of them. Thing is, though, some of them I don't have very many games for. It's like my Saturn, for instance. My Saturn, I have 5 games. That's it. I only have 5, because they're so expensive. And the only game I think I've actually played any significant content on that system is Lunar Magic School, which is in Japanese only. And, I think a quarter of the way through that game. If you actually look at my YouTube channel, I do have a no voiceover version of that game that I'm playing, and I'm doing all the translations for the subtitles. I haven't touched it in a while, but I think the last time I aired anything for that was beginning of January. I need to get back in and get back to that to actually finish the game. It's a good game. It's fun. I like the game, but because I have to translate it, it takes a lot of time to do the videos. But so yeah, that's like the only game I play on it though. I'd love to play more games on the Saturn, but they're so hard to get a hold of because they're expensive. The English versions are outrageously expensive, and the Japanese versions I have to translate. So it's definitely a hindrance. It's the same thing with what is it? My Sega CD. Now that's a little different because my Sega CD has a short and I don't have the equipment to fix it properly. So that kind of stinks. If I had better room, better space, I could fix it. But unfortunately, it's not something I have at the moment. Is the actual space to fix it. I wish I did, because there's a couple games I'd like to play on it that I can't play right now. I mean, I could emulate them. I could use the Sega CD emulator, but it's not the same. I like using original hardware when I can, because the emulators have problems. Like I've recorded some PSP games on the emulator, and the one that I got done the most with is Class of Heroes. And I thought about returning to that as a full-time thing, but that game is pretty cool. I like that game, but there's some visual defects in the layering. So think about the slash button on the screen in certain scenarios going behind, say, the characters, instead of being on top of everybody. It just, for whatever reason, it just goes behind them and stuff like that. That's the kind of things that I have to deal with in that game on the emulation, because it's emulated. Emulators do that. They don't get the hardware exactly right, so they don't get the layering just right, or the interrupts are wrong or whatever. So sometimes they get a little wonky. Now, is that bad? Not really, because in the case of the PSP, it's just a visual bug. It doesn't detract from the gameplay, but it could bother you. What are you? I don't know who you are. Okay, I have been in this place a long time, and this is the first time I've seen a succubus. I'm not joking. This is the first succubus I've ever seen in this dungeon. And like I said, I have been in this dungeon for, on this trip now, we're pushing 12 hours. And you're in this dungeon 2 other times prior. Apparently, I've never seen it before. And And like I said, I have been in this dungeon for probably pretty close to 40 hours? 30 hours? Let's see, this trip through the dungeon, we're doing at 12 hours. The first trip was, I think, 6 hours. No, 9 hours, around 9 hours, I think, in this dungeon this time around. And the first trip was like 6 hours. And the second trip was at least 2 or 3 hours. So yeah, probably 20 hours in this dungeon. And that's the first time I've ever seen a succubus. Oh my goodness. This game can still surprise you sometimes. It can still surprise me. That's crazy. Well, at least it's a nice surprise. I mean, finding new stuff is amazing. But, yeah, it's crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Yeah, it's better. Anyway. So what was I thinking of before the succubus came out? What was I talking about? Oh, emulation, Castellanos. So when you're doing emulated games, you'll notice that it doesn't really detract from the game, usually. It doesn't make the game unplayable or anything. But you can tell when a game is on native, near native, or emulation. Now like I said, I do have a Genesis, and I have a Nintendo, and I have a Super Nintendo. I do not have a Famicom or Super Famicom, though what I have is a Retron 5, and it does near native emulation. So there aren't a lot of glitches like you would see like on a PC emulation, or in some cases the Switch emulator sometimes has some interesting emulation bugs, because all the Switch emulator is left over from the Wii. It's still the Wii emulator, it's just been updated to the Switch's resolution. And that still has some graphical issues in the emulation software. It's not, it's not too bad. It's good enough. But it does have that visual, oh, you can tell it's emulated type look. So it's that. You can't do direct from device for like handheld stuff usually. So like there are certain models of the PSP that have the ability to broadcast to HDMI. I do own one. Actually, I own 2. I just don't have the connector for it. And there is not one that of the Game Boy consoles, none of the handhelds, that can do it without having it modified. So you can't do that. So for those games, you have to rely on either straight ROM emulation or near native emulation, such as through a Super Game Boy, or like the Retron does, where it emulates the Super Game Boy and does it that way, or something along those lines, or just being on the Switch emulator. You have to do it that way for those types of games, unfortunately. Because that's all we have available. We don't have anything else that we can do for those handheld games. And like the Switch even, there are versions of the Switch that have HDMI out, and certain versions that don't. Because they took it out of some of the versions to make it cheaper. That's why the Switch Lite is like $50, $60 cheaper. Because they took out stuff like the HDMI processor and so on to cut cost. So, if you're gonna record or stream games, you gotta kind of know which hardware works best for the environment you're in, as well as what works well for, which ones are better for streaming. Some aren't. Like, for example, I have a PlayStation 2 Fat and a PlayStation 2 Slim. My Slim is a Japanese version, and the Fat one is North America. Unfortunately, I can't play neither of these are broken. So I have to actually play, North American games on the North America version system and Japanese games on the Japanese system. Can't swap back and forth. And is there any difference between the two? No, not really. I haven't had any issues with either. And I probably have maybe 100 hours on my Japanese PlayStation, and probably close to 5,000 or 6,000 hours on my PS2. And I haven't had much issues with the systems at all. The only problems that I have with them is you have latency issues. So when you're playing rhythm games, or you're playing Legend of Dragoon, which has a rhythm or a QTE mechanic in the game, you might have issues with getting the timings right, only because there's a little bit of lag in the system and the video cables and so on when you're recording. And you just learn to live with them. I've had people argue with me oh, you need to get this cable here or that cable there. And some of them are $100, $200, $300 cables. It's in order to fix my latency issue. And I'm why? I just learned how to not be late, I'm sitting here talking like this through Legend of Dragoon, which is all QTEs throughout the whole fight. And I'm sitting here nailing perfect scores 4 and 5 times in a row, and then I turn around and miss getting 2 and 3, 2 and 3 stars basically on the same QTEs for an hour, and then all of a sudden I'm making them all again. It's it's weird. You get used to it. It doesn't bother you when you're doing this type of streaming. You just gotta go with it. And when you've got, like I said, I've got all my consoles. Yeah, it does. It's just the way it is, And these guys seem to, for whatever reason, seem to think that if you're not using whatever their assumption of the best whatever is, then you're not doing it right. And it's wait a minute. These are the same guys that think that the Meister FPGA emulation of hardware is the only way to go, because it's even better than native. And it's like, no, you're still emulating the hardware, and I have watched people use that hardware, and it makes some really basic mistakes sometimes. Like, I have seen it do layering issues, and I've seen it do rendering problems where it didn't compensate for some variable that would rotate or flip an image properly. So think about like your character as an example, and you're the only character, but you're backwards. You know, it makes you look like you're left-handed instead of right-handed. And somebody who knows the game would know that. You know, they would recognize, like, hey, you know, your character's not supposed to be left-handed. There's a glitch in the hardware emulation of that game. And they're like, oh no, this game's not emulated. It's on a Mars or FPGA. So, you know, it's native. And it's like, no, dude, that's not native. That is hardware emulation or simulation. And it makes mistakes because the programmers don't know how to compensate for the hardware's little idiosyncrasies. Versus the guys who developed for the hardware had no choice. They had to develop for it and make it work, or it didn't work at all. So they get like that, and it's like really weird. It doesn't make any sense to me why people would be that aggressive over something that doesn't matter, and yet they are. I've never understood it. I probably will never understand it. But it's the world we live in. But listen, in this setup that I have played, I know they do, it's so stupid. But in this setup, now mind you, I have 2 PS2s, a Vita TV. I have my Vita TV. I have my Retron, my PS4, my PS3, and my PC all in a cabinet. And off to the side I have my, what's over there? I have my Genesis and my Saturn that are off to the side. All of them go through the same setup. It goes into an HDMI multi-in, which converts, you know, which takes whatever the active signal is from the switch and puts it out on one channel. That is then split with one of those channels going to my monitor, the other channel going over to my capture card. And that's my setup. And all of them go up to 1080p HDMI. I have upscalers on all of them. So it kind of gives you an idea on what my hardware looks like and how much of a mess this is. And on this setup, I have played rhythm games. I have played games like Legend of Dragoon, which is QTE heavy. Most of the games I play are like this, or first-person shooters, or whatever, you know, Twitch-based games, or reactionary-based games. And I've played a lot of turn-based RPGs and stuff on them. Now, have I had a significant issue with my setup? Nope. I mean, I have problems with QTEs sometimes. You could use rhythm games sometimes, but that's more me because I am not coordinated. My hand-eye coordination is bad. It really is. It's horrible. Especially when I'm sitting here talking, like I do when I'm streaming. I sit here and talk, talking is fine. Talking is good. Talking keeps everybody entertained. Keeps me entertained. Keeps me awake. Keeps you entertained because you want to hear what I'm saying and rambling about sometimes. Especially when I'm doing this type of thing. Oh my god, we're boring. We're running through this dungeon. It's boring. If I was just doing this dungeon, oh my god, man, we'd all be dead. We'd all be bored off our butts, and I'd have, it's terrible. But, here we are, in the dungeon, leveling up as fast as we can, talking about any number of things. Oh my goodness. But we'll get through it. And I'm gonna have to go through this video and probably see if there's anything interesting to highlight or excerpt, because I've had some horrible... I think I will go back to when I had my mental breakdown and clip that. I do. I think I'm going to clip that one and put that as a highlight of me just losing my marbles at the end of that fight. Oh, yeah. Post that on Twitter. That'll be posted on my Twitter. Which, if you're not following, that's the best way to know when I'm going live, or if I'm having delays or anything. I post everything over there. Well, you know, it's the kind of thing that mental breakdowns, personally, are no fun. You know, it's just, it's stressful, it's stress-inducing, it's not any fun, but from a streaming perspective, they can make really good highlights. And people like to laugh at, you know, when somebody has a mental breakdown. Oh. Okay. It's someone that actually has points. Got it. I thought, oh, I leveled that. Guess not. So, yeah, it's fine. Mental breakdowns are a part of life. So, you're probably wondering why I'm putting points into bow, even though he doesn't use bow. And that's because the bow skills down here, the stat boosts are the same. That one gets mana instead of hit points, but it gets agility and dexterity. So I'm down there getting that so that Kara can get more agility and dexterity. Just like in this one, in this case, these two are doing one-handed, two-handed, and like she's doing access. Though he'll end up doing probably bow in order to get those types of stats, just to give the stats boost. But yeah, it's a mess. So as it stands, this guy was 53, I believe it was. I believe. Hold on. Chapter 12. He is 53. So you want the lowest character in the party to be 53. To make this a much easier fight. Which means Belle and Eldore will probably be 54 or 55. But no, mental breakdowns, anytime somebody has a mental breakdown or a spaz, certain parts of the streaming and stream watching community just enjoy watching us lose our marbles over some of the silliest things. In my case, it was legit. I'm sorry, that was way more than this game should have thrown at me. Because we went through, we managed to get through that fight, and then they didn't give us a save point, and they threw us into a no-win fight that you had to make a certain amount, apparently according to the book, you have to survive a certain amount of time before it cancels out, rather than just saying, hey, if you hit this time, or one of your characters gets knocked out, then skip to the end, jump to the next sequence, where the dude just, you know, blows you off and runs away, or whatever he's gonna do. Because that would have made perfect sense for them to have done that. I don't know where to fight. But that's not what they asked. And you have to survive. And it's like, why? But yeah, no, it's the same thing as we were talking about the people in Mega that have, you know, where they worry and care about some of the silliest little things. It's the same thing. People like that, or have that type of mentality, are the ones that will rave over the fact that such and such a person had a mental breakdown or whatever, or threw a hissy fit or a temper tantrum. I don't know if you've seen any, but there's like a whole section of like Twitter and Facebook and TikTok and whatever. Basically, where people are just losing their marbles on camera just for clout. So, like, they do what I did, where they just lose it, but then they take it to the next level, and they, like, break their controllers in half, or what now, they'll like break their monitor, you know, just really go way overboard, you know, just so they can get a video to go viral and make money off of it. And it's like, really? I'm not either. And I'm not, you know, a big fan of people who make a lot of, you know, money or off of them. I'm not a big fan of, you know, people who do it intentionally. There's the difference. In a case like mine, where I just lost it for a few seconds and just, yeah, clip it, put it out there, whatever, I'm done. I was fine 2 seconds later. That's one thing. I don't have a problem with that. I'll even clip it and post it. Not a big deal. But the ones that sit there and go for like 5 minutes ranting and raving just so they can make some video that'll go viral or whatever, no, I'm not a fan of that. You know, intentionally damaging their stuff just so that they can, you know, have a million view video or something. Not a fan of it. It happens, you know, but anybody who's that much of a drama queen or king, you know they're doing it just for the clout. And the fact that people feed that type of trollish behavior honestly amazes me. And putting out is one thing, but actually actively feeding that type of behavior is, in my opinion, part of the problem. Maybe I'll get this too. Sweet. But, again, we have one more level to do. And if I don't finish it tonight, I will. Actually, I'm not going to. We're almost out of time, and I need to figure out where I am in this dungeon. Where are we at? We are halfway through. So what we'll do is we will get to the beginning of this dungeon, we'll save, and that'll probably be it for today. But what I'm going to do is either tomorrow or Saturday or both. I'm gonna try and find some time to finish up leveling to get that one last level, so that we're coming in tomorrow and next Saturday before the stream with Kara being 53 at least. So if I have the energy and mental fortitude for it, I might push for another level, but the goal here is to get to 53 on her, and where everybody else lands, we'll see. Yay. Because by the time we get there, we'll probably be halfway done with this level anyway, I think. What are we at now? So for her, that one's almost done, that one's almost done. Now we're 1,000 points in. So we're, what, 10 kills in? And we need, what, 200 kills to level up? So it's not a big deal. We'll work through it. I said we'll work through it. It's not that bad. I mean, considering how long it takes to do a kill, you know, I can do it tomorrow in a couple of hours. And it'll probably take me, you know, 3 or 4 hours. Casually, just running through the dungeon to finish up that level. And then get to a save point on either side of the dungeon. So, not that big of a deal. Is it a big deal? No. Is it annoying? Yes. So, we'll see how that works out. Let's go over there next. Now this is we're doing a bare minimum kill run here. So that'll tell us roughly how many kills there are on a bare minimum run, because I haven't been counting. Because we leveled when we got to the other end last. So I think it's somewhere around 25? You know, bare minimum. And I think total was like somewhere around 50 or 60. Which is why it takes so long. Because we have to go through each of these fights, each of these kills. You know, try not to aggro everything under the sun, but then again, we have to kill most of it, so... And hopefully the Holy Light actually does what it's supposed to do, which it doesn't most of the time. Though, tonight it seems to be doing reasonably well. I think the game decided to give me a break. Knowing that I'm trying to finish up and leave. Oh look, it's gonna attract everybody. There's a surprise. Which means I'll probably lose my timing on this one. Nope, we actually kept your timing. Sweet. That's kinda cool. I didn't half expect that one to lose its timing. I don't know, we'll see. I don't think that one's going to keep the timing on that one. No. That one was off. But I couldn't do anything about that because it was already getting ready to come back up anyway. But it's okay. We're working through it. But like I was saying before, I stream on Friday and Saturday roughly the same time. When I can. And then, I haven't been doing it lately, but I will either do like short streams or record other days throughout the week randomly when I have time. So, it's something you can always, you know, keep an eye out for, but I am active on Twitter most days. So, it's always a good thing to, you know, see what I'm doing over there. Because that's a better chance of knowing, of actually being able to catch me if you have a question or you want to know what's coming up. I have been putting content, like commentary and questions and whatnot over on my YouTube channel. So, I don't really have, a lot of interaction from people over there, so that would be nice to have more interaction with people, but, I do put some notifications over there when I'm doing something new, or I got like a new series coming up, whether it's going to be streamed or it's going to be recorded, either way, I'll put it over there, and, you know, try and get like a feel of like what people might want to see. I do a lot of polls. Even though I don't get a lot of necessary interactions, I do put a lot of polls up. So, always a good chance for you to, you know, kind of give your opinion on what you want to see or where you want me to go or whatever. It's a good thing. It's good help. It helps. And like I said, my YouTube's got somewhere around 400 or 500 videos on it. A lot of live streams. There's also a lot of like review or first impression type videos, where I do like 30 minutes of a game. Not really, because most of it's my live streams. Because you figure I do 2 streams a week. If I'm on vacation or holiday, like if we have a 3 or 4 day weekend, that could be as many as 4 streams for just a weekend. So when you think about it that way, that's what, 150, 200 streams a year? And that's just my live streams. And then for a while, I was doing like 2 or 3 30-minute videos a week on top of the live streams. So I had like 500 videos up there for the last 18 months or so that I've been actively recording on this channel. And it's not you know, you can think about it as being a lot of content, because it really is a lot of content, but I don't have a lot of traction because I can't get visibility. You know, unlike the big channels that either have that one viral video that just gets them noticed, or they have, you know, a slow, steady 4 or 5 year growth pattern. I just haven't had much traction in getting a good audience over on YouTube. I mean, I do have a reasonable number of views and subs now. That's gone up recently. But, and it's consistent. My numbers are consistent. But because I haven't been putting a lot of new independent content outside of my live stream recordings lately, it's been slower than, you know, it probably should be. I need to get back into some more videos, some more general content videos over there. But one day I'll get back to it. I just have to have the time to do it. You know, doing edited videos, believe it or not, takes a lot more time than I thought it would. Because a 30-minute video might be like 3 or 4 hours of recording sometimes. And I am out of mana. Well, I'm out of mana. I have been chain killing so quickly that I actually ran out of mana. Wow. Wow, me and Eldore are both out of mana. Bel's running low on mana, and she's not even using any. Well, and as an example, the Lunar Magic School series, where I'm doing the translation of the game for the subtitles. And I'm not talking over that game at all. That game is just the original game, audio, all of it. And it's just, I'm just going through playing the game and editing in the subtitles so that people who can't read Japanese or don't speak Japanese at all can at least enjoy the majority of the content. And I'll have like 30 minutes or 40 minutes of gameplay that take me up to 16 hours just to translate. Sometimes it's like 20 minutes and I'm translating. But most of the time it's like 10, 15, 20 hours sometimes for the more complicated, for the more wordy sequences, you know? Which is where I'm at right now. I'm on a more text-heavy section of that game, and I just have not had the ambition to go back to it in order to finish the translation for that section of the game. But yeah, it's fun. In any case, like I said, just when you have time, if you're interested, go check that out and see if there's anything there that you want to comment on or something. Let me know. Give me your thoughts. It's always appreciated. And it is now 11:10, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for staying in the majority of the stream. That's fantastic. You're awesome. Because most of the time I get somebody for like the first hour, and then it's just me for the last 2 hours. So that's greatly appreciated. And like I said, come back next week and check out my other channels and see what's going on. Give me some comments. I look forward to seeing you again. Have a good night.